We're back on a cold, windy day in Portland, rainy. We're doing just the perfect thing. We're having warm drinks, sitting by the fire, our imaginary fire, and talking to exciting Episcopalians. And our guest here, we're so grateful that you came back, is Rachel Guarna, Bouvier Guarna.
Yes.
What
Pretty
a
close.
great name. That's a lot more.
Thank you.
I'm Bill Green. You know, that's not very exotic, but Rachel Bouvier Guarna
Yes.
is a very exciting name.
Thank you.
Tell me about your name.
Bouvier is the name that I was born with. It
Yep.
means cow herder in French. It shows my noble origins. Now
Jackie Bouvier Kennedy was a cow herder?
well, yeah. Well, her ancestors were, yes.
Interesting.
Yes.
Any relation?
Very distantly.
Very distant, okay.
We're on the black sheep side of the family. So
Bouvier, the
yes.
black sheep. I get it. Okay.
And then Guarna is the name that I took when I got married, and it's Italian, and it's for a little province in Italy,
Where?
Sicily.
Okay, way down.
Yep.
But you grew up in
I grew up in Woodstock, Connecticut.
Woodstock, Connecticut. What
Yep.
kind of a town is that?
Very, very small. It's actually the largest town in Connecticut area-wise with the second smallest population.
Okay.
So
Yep.
very, very rural. They call it the quiet corner.
This is an awful question, but what socioeconomic stratification do you come from?
Oh my goodness.
Was Dad a professor or what?
No,
Mom?
no. My dad was a high school teacher,
Oh.
and then he became a real estate agent afterwards. And my mom was a nurse, and then she got her master's in nursing on the same day that I got my master's degree, actually,
Yeah.
and became a nurse practitioner. But I grew up with my mom as a single mom. My parents got divorced when I was 6. And so my sister and I lived with my mom for a long time.
Two sibs, you and your sis.
Just one sister. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, but there is some education there. You're not the first generation of your family to go to college or whatever.
No.
So, where did you go to college?
I went to Smith College in Northampton,
Ooh,
Massachusetts.
la la.
Yes.
So
yes.
you were a good student.
I was a good student.
Yeah?
Yeah. Fortunately, because otherwise I wouldn't have been able to afford to go to Smith.
Yeah.
So,
And what year did you graduate?
1994.
And what was Smith like in the early 1990s?
It was wonderful. It was
Yeah.
wonderful. I really loved it. I felt like I'd really found a good home. But at first, of course, when I started going there, I was convinced that they had made a mistake by admitting me, because
you?
it was tough. It was
The
tough.
first day you
Yeah.
looked around and thought, these guys are smarter than me.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
absolutely.
really?
Yeah, absolutely. So,
Ah.
yeah,
So you must be a hard worker.
I would like to think so. Yeah,
Are you?
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Okay. And what did you study at Smith?
I studied economics. I came in as an English major and then very quickly discovered that wasn't for me. And I took an economics class and fell in love with it.
Why wasn't English for you?
I think I wanted to do something more tangible.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. And I took my first I took my first English class, and it was called Fiction as Cultural Criticism, which sounded really cool and actually
Yeah.
was really cool. But then I thought, I don't want to spend the rest of my college career doing this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hear you. In college, I was very intellectual in college, as you might imagine.
Yes, I
And
would
that kind
think
of
so.
class would have attracted me, and then I would have thought, kill me. But
That was it.
Yeah.
That was it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I hate to date these because they're going to live on our website for a long, long time. But we are doing this on the best day in the history of peoplekind to be talking to an economist, because yesterday at 4 o'clock, President Trump released his, whatever he called, reciprocal, which they're not, tariffs.
Yes.
But I know a little bit about what you do because I've seen you quoted, certainly in the Press Herald. I know I've seen you on TV. And so you're an expert in economics.
Well, I happened to be in the right place at the right time.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
But so after Smith, where'd you go to graduate school?
I went to graduate school twice, actually. I went to the University of New Hampshire and got a master's degree in resource economics and development.
Okay.
And then I worked for a little while and then decided that I wanted to go back to school to get a PhD. So this time I went to UMass Amherst and got a doctorate in economics.
Just
Just economics, yeah.
Now, do you specialize in any kind of economics now?
I do. I specialize in environmental and natural resource economics.
And so in 30 seconds or less, what are you analyzing? What kind of resources we are using and the long-term effects economically of that? Or
Well, the classes that I teach and then the research that I do are a little bit different. The classes that I teach in environmental and natural resource economics deal with how the environment and the economy are intertwined. So the way I look at it is, you have the economy in the middle, and then on the input side, we bring raw materials in from the environment. And then on the output side, as well as generating economic activity, we also generate things like pollution. And so both of those things have an effect on economic activity. So they're two sides of the same coin. You can't have an economic policy without having environmental repercussions. Right. And you can't have an environmental policy without having economic repercussions. So that's kind of what I do.
And I hate to follow up on that but I am interested. How many courses do you teach, and how much research do you get to do, and how does an economist research?
Oh boy. Okay. So I teach at the University of Southern Maine, and our typical course load is 3 classes a semester.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a heavy teaching load, and then a quarter of our time we're supposed to spend on research, and so that's part of our job as a professor, is to do research, teaching, and service.
Yeah. Wow. And you're a wife and mother.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. To whom are you married? Who's that? Is that the guy that sits with you?
The guy that sits with me,
Yeah?
yes. That's my husband, Joel Guarna. He's a clinical psychologist. And then I have a daughter named Sylvia, who is 16, and she is a sophomore at Casco Bay High School.
How does one get into Casco Bay High School?
It's a lottery system. So
So she's not necessarily just smart. She's lucky.
yeah, she is lucky and smart and
Yeah.
beautiful. Yes, and she would kill me for saying all of those things. Yes,
Well,
but
you
it's true.
don't get carried away, kid. You're just like your mother. Like that.
Thank
But
you.
I know that you work hard at mothering because you are very close to your mother. You had a great example of
Yes.
motherhood. Tell me about your
Yes.
mom.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. So she lives in Northampton, Massachusetts, right now, which is where I went to college. And so, when I went to college, both my mom and my sister got to know Northampton, and that really loved the area. We also went contra dancing in Greenfield, Massachusetts, which is near there. And so they moved there, and they live they don't live in the same apartment, but they have a multifamily. And my mom lives in the top floor, and my sister and her son Travis live in the lower floor.
What does
Yeah.
contra dancing have to do with it? It was just the final straw. We got to move here. That's it. They got contra dancing.
Well,
we're moving.
actually, the thing is that the way my mom tells it is, after my parents got divorced, we didn't have a lot of money, and so there weren't a lot of, and of course I was 6 and my sister was 8 at the time, so there were very few opportunities for her to kind of get out and meet people, and so contra dancing was a way of doing that. She said to me that she wanted to go somewhere where she could go and she could dance her beep off.
Yeah.
And not have to talk to anybody if she didn't want to. And so the contra dancing was a great opportunity because you can go, you don't need a partner, you can, the norm is that you'll dance with other people.
Yeah.
So you might come with someone, but you dance with other people while you're there. You can go and you can have a really good time and not have to, there are no strings attached, nothing like that.
Sure.
And she could take us, she could take
Yeah.
the two little girls, my sister and I, and we had sleeping bags, and we would sometimes crash out in the basement of the Grange while we would hear
The
people
Grange.
stamping
That's-
around.
When I
up
think of
top.
contra dancing, I
Yep.
think of a Grange Hall.
Yeah,
You
it's
know.
typically
Is
in
it?
a Grange Hall.
In
Yeah.
New England,
Yeah,
yeah.
in New England. Yes, yes.
So tell me about your religious background at this time.
Sure. Okay.
And
So
tell me about the Winnie the Pooh dress, too.
So I was baptized Episcopalian. I was in an Episcopalian church in Southbridge, Massachusetts, which is the next town over from Woodstock, and Southbridge was where my dad lived at the time. So I didn't get baptized right away. I was a little bit older when I got baptized, not a baby. And my mom says that's because she was a hippie, and I was actually baptized in a mountain stream. But then her family wanted it more formal, so we were baptized in the Episcopalian church.
Please don't give Peter any more wild ideas.
But when I was, when I was older, when we were older, we actually mostly went to the Congregationalist Church in Woodstock, Connecticut, and so that's
Big white wood church.
That's Big White Wood Church.
Yep.
That's right, and that's where I grew up, and I was confirmed.
Were you in the choir?
No, I wasn't in the choir. You're bringing back memories, though. There was a man there who had this very, very deep voice. And I remember that. But no, we weren't in the choir. And then when I went to college, I actually would go to St. John's Episcopal Church, which was very near to campus.
So you're a real Christian, and you went to school in college.
Yes, I went to church while I was in college. Not all the time.
I'm in church.
Yeah,
Excuse me.
no,
Yes,
that's
I'm sorry.
okay. I went not all the time, but every once in a while.
Good for you.
Yeah.
That's great.
I kind of fell out of it when I went to grad school, but I do remember on 9/11 I went to the Episcopalian Church in Amherst. It just felt
Sure.
like the right thing. Yeah.
Sure. I remember when there was a tragedy in Paris. We had some people here. I don't think it was the burning of Notre Dame. I think it was something else. And a couple people came in to pray, and I thought that was lovely.
Yeah.
So then you get your PhD.
Yes.
How do you get to Maine?
So here's the story. Newly minted PhDs who are looking for a tenure track position are usually willing to sell their soul and go just about anywhere to get that. But my husband Joel, the light of my life, or one of the lights of my life, I should say, put his foot down and said, "I will." At the time, he was working at the Veterans Administration Hospital in Brockton, which is a very, very good job. And he said, "I will leave this job and go with you anywhere you want to go, but it has to be New England, or possibly upstate New York." He said possibly. And I was like, oh boy, this is gonna be tough. But then a position opened up at the University of Southern Maine right here in Portland, and I said, all right, I'm gonna try for there, and we got it, and here we are. So yeah.
Tell me about the moment you met Joel.
Oh boy, that's a story in itself. We met online, as many modern couples do.
Yes, you're a very modern person.
Yes. But
Did you swipe left or right?
neither one. It wasn't. That was the old-fashioned online dating, where you did it on the computer, not on the phone, because our phones were not advanced to that point yet.
Okay.
Yes. So yeah, but we were both vegetarian at the time.
Yeah.
So we met on a website. I don't even know if it exists anymore, but we met on a site called veggiedate.org.
Veggie. I love this. And so he said, "Hey,
Yeah.
babe, let's go out and get some succotash."
Yeah, basically.
So how does that work? I mean, there's a little,
Yeah.
pas de deux going on here.
Yeah. So I typed in my search criteria, and he was the top one. So
No kidding.
Yeah. So being very rational, I said, okay, that's it. No.
Okay, I'm going to marry this guy.
There was more to it than that, of course. But so we called, we emailed back and forth, we
Yeah.
called back and forth for a while. And then we finally met in Providence, Rhode Island, which is where he was living at the time.
Yeah. And what did you do? Where did you meet, and what did you do?
We met in a little pastry shop in Providence called Pastiche. It's phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. And so we just met there, but it was a very kind of time-limited thing because I wasn't sure.
Good idea.
Yeah.
I've driven out of Providence, but I've only got 20 minutes.
Exactly. No, not quite that bad. But one of my friends was living in Providence at the time, and so I had made arrangements to meet with her afterwards, so I could say, if things weren't going well, I had a little out. But
was she sitting across the patisserie checking things out?
She wasn't. Okay. She wasn't. Not quite that bad. But yeah. So then our second date was in Northampton. We went hiking together.
Oh.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
And when did you marry?
We married in June of 2004.
Were you in a church?
No.
Where'd you get married?
We got married at the Asa Waters Mansion in Millbury, Massachusetts.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tell me about Asa real quick.
I have no idea. No idea.
They have
but
lovely weddings there.
It was a beautiful wedding.
Was it very traditional? What did you wear?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't traditional at all. I had a gold satin dress. I didn't want to get married in white. I was not very traditional at that time. I'm still not, I suppose. But my mom made the dress. My mom and my sister both made the dress. And then my grandmother sewed the buttons down the back.
Oh, I want to cry.
Yeah, it was beautiful. I should make that picture available too.
Yeah.
But it was beautiful. It was a beautiful dress, beautiful wedding.
Did you have music?
We did have music.
What instruments were there?
My Aunt Annie, who is an organist, a church organist, played the piano.
Okay.
And then I had a bunch of my family members sing songs for us, including The Power of Two by the Indigo Girls.
Oh, my goodness. Okay.
And so that was really wonderful. That was a great day.
Yeah.
It was a great day.
That's great. And then where were you in your life? Were you still in graduate? You were out of graduate school.
At that time, I was just finishing up graduate school.
And then pretty soon you were going to come to Portland, Maine.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was really great.
So
really great.
How long have you been at USM?
That's another story. I started in 2005, and then in 2014, USM had some financial difficulties and laid off about 50 faculty members and staff. And
Were you just short of tenure?
No, I had tenure at that time.
That's not funny, is it?
No, it's not really funny. I had tenure. I got tenure in 2011, and so
Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you. And so was laid off in 2014.
Oh.
And so I started a consulting business at that time. I'm making a very short story of it. There's way longer we could talk about this.
A lot of angst.
A lot of angst.
Yeah.
A lot of angst. So I started my own consulting firm, and then in 2018, I actually came back to USM on a 1-year contract. They really wanted me back, which is really nice, but I wasn't sure if
Sure.
There'd been a lot of trauma.
I didn't know you could lay off a tenured professor.
Oh, yes.
I never thought of that.
I wasn't fired. That would have been difficult to do.
Yeah.
But they eliminated
Your
my position.
Yes, all right. So,
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't know they could do that, I guess.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
For financial or programmatic reasons, they could do that.
Interesting.
Yeah. So
Those dogs.
No. Well, maybe. So it's just I came back as a 1-year position to see how I felt being back, and it was. The administration had turned over by then. We had a new president. We had
Who was the new president?
Well, the new president now is
then
was Glenn Cummings.
I knew Glenn.
Yeah,
Great guy.
really great guy.
Yeah.
Really great guy.
I thought he had it going at USM.
Yeah.
And I thought it was too bad he left as quickly as he did, but what the heck? This is about you, not about Glenn.
Yes, there are a lot of politics there. But the current president, Jackie Edmondson, is a lovely person.
She is.
Yeah,
Good.
she is really nice.
Good.
And so I thought, okay, I can make a go of this. And so Yeah, so I did, and so I've been back at USM ever since then.
What kind of a teacher are you? You tough?
Yes.
Are you?
And my students would say so, yes.
Good. I'm going to check
tough
you
but
out on
fair.
Rate My Professor.
Don't. No. That's sample selection bias.
Yeah, 3 or 4 people who flunked your class jump
Yes.
on Rate My Professor.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, it's I think I'm tough but fair.
I like that. Now, how did you find Trinity Episcopal Church?
So, my husband and I decided after a long break, after a long break of going to any sort of religious, organized religious activity, you'll have to interview him for his take.
I tried to, he wouldn't do it.
No, he's very private. So I'm not going to talk about his journey. I'll talk about mine. I was hungering for something.
Yep.
And I also really wanted to get more involved in volunteer work.
Yep.
But it's really difficult, I found, to do volunteer work as an individual. And so I wanted a community that was involved in those sorts of things, where it would be easier for me to participate. And so I wanted the community, and I wanted the volunteer work. And so we did some church shopping a little bit.
Yeah.
We went. I don't think my husband would mind him saying that he's a recovering Catholic. And so when we came here, it felt, yeah.
We were filled with lapsed Catholics,
Yes.
and he felt right at home.
Yes. So he felt like he could do
Yeah.
this, and we heard Peter preach, and thought, okay, this is where we want to go. So
Yeah, good.
yeah.
Now, did the smallness of our growing congregation affect you at all? Did it give you second thoughts?
No, not really.
Okay.
Not really. I mean, most congregations, I think, nowadays are a lot smaller than they used to be, unfortunately.
Have you noticed changes in Trinity since you got here in what year?
Yeah, it's been, it'll be 2 years on Easter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I have noticed it growing.
We're going places.
Yeah,
Look out.
yeah, it really is something.
Yeah.
It really is, and it's Peter, and it's the music, and it's the outreach, and I can't say enough about the music here with Francis and Mary Francis, and one of the things that I loved here too was the organ, because I said my aunt Annie plays the organ down in Massachusetts, and so I've really been a big fan of organ music. Yeah.
That's so interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I'd blow that thing up if I could. No, not really. Not really. My sister was a church organist. But to me, the organ relates to 100 years ago or something.
I love it. But that's one of the things that drew me to the Episcopalian Church is the history and the tradition.
Yeah, me too. You want to talk? So what kind of things are you doing? What's your ministry as you kind of come here and do your thing? Are you doing anything in particular? I know you've done... I always call it a happy hour jokingly, and now I'm on camera. Coffee hour. Between my commitments at work and my commitments at home, I don't really feel like I can really commit to anything, really long term. Not long term, that's not what I'm trying to say, but steady. Yeah.
So I do the coffee hour when I can.
Yeah.
I have done Laundry Love when I can.
Yeah.
I helped out with the capital campaign, getting that started a little bit, and but I'd love to join the choir at some point.
Oh my
but
goodness. They're going to be grabbing you.
No, they're trying. But
what's your voice range?
I'm an alto.
Okay.
But I'm in a group called Women in Harmony, which practices every Tuesday night.
Yes.
And so it's just too difficult to do.
Yeah.
Yes, Lynn Gammon is also in it as well. So,
how many people in Women in Harmony?
About 50.
And I've seen them. Where do you sing and why? And is there anything to it other than being a singing group?
Yeah, well, we rehearse in Cumberland right now.
Where?
At the UU Church. No, wait.
Right in the
at
middle
the
of town, the big white Congo
church.
church.
Yeah, the
I live in
Congregational
Cumberland, so I'm
Church.
interested.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the Congregational Church in Cumberland. And we have 2 concerts a year in May and January, and we sing our catchphrases that we sing for social justice.
That's
So
what I
we
thought, yeah.
we specialize in singing a lot of songs that were written by women or written by other, underserved communities.
Yeah.
And most of the songs that we sing have sort of a social justice theme to them.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
How great.
Yeah.
And how's your life? You busy? Busy? I just
Yeah.
can't imagine how busy you are.
Well, busy, but I am trying to become less busy. So, trying to take it a little easy, and life is short, so we got to make the most.
We do
of
not
what
have
we
much
can.
time.
Yes, yes, exactly.
Anything else you want to talk about? We're so glad you're here. I don't speak for the church. I'm just a clown over in the corner. But, I mean, it's wonderful to have a relatively young family person.
I'm being used to be called relatively
In this
young
church you are.
in Maine. Yes.
Yeah, that's
yes.
great. It's great to have you. It's great that you came and
I really like it.
good. Anything
Yeah.
we need to improve on? You're one of us now. You get to say.
I would love to sing more traditional hymns.
Give me one.
Oh, gosh, you would have to
Amazing
pull it. You would have
Grace.
to. Amazing Grace is great. Oh,
More
gosh.
traditional hymns.
Yeah.
The stuff
Yeah,
you
yeah.
heard when you were a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting.
But other than that, nope, no complaints.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's great. That's great. Well, thanks so much. I appreciate you putting yourself on the line out here.
As an exciting Episcopalian.
Yeah, I think you
Yes.
are. I think you are. That's somebody who's still working, right? So this is great. So I'm Bill Green. I'm not working. I just go places, and I work harder than I ever have, and nobody pays me.
Yeah,
Now,
nice.
that's the worst part.
Nice.
But it's been great to talk with Rachel Bouvier
Guarna.
Guarna. What does that translate to? If
The
Bouvier is a
Guarna? Bouvier is
cattle.
cow herder.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm not sure what
We'll get
Guarna
on
means.
that.
I think my daughter found out, but I can't remember.
All right.
Yeah.
Guarna. Well, Ms. Guarna, thanks so much, Rachel. It's fun to see you here on Sundays, and you are indeed an exciting Episcopalian, so you got that going for you.
Nice.
And we thank you all for joining us, and we hope to see you next Sunday right here at Trinity Episcopal Church in Portland, Maine.
All
How long
right.
did that go, Peter?